right, so we've had lots of conversations so far about quality metrics and value. I'm Zoe Stallings, and I am at Duke Primary Care in Wake Forest outside of Raleigh. So I wanted to go over setting the patient's expectations. Would orienting a patient have any impact on satisfaction scores? No disclosures, no sponsors, and there's no funding. So our project, it came into existence through our organization trying our best to improve patient satisfaction scores. So my role in my practice was to work with the work culture committee to try to improve patient-physician communication, the global access scores, and all those Press-Ganey questionnaires about how satisfied were you with the visit, did you, all those questions that people get after a physician encounter. So the thought was, given that there's so much value placed on patient satisfaction scores and the fact that there is some reimbursement tied to it, why not focus on trying to improve that experience? And there are some positive thoughts that if a patient is satisfied, a part of that could be that it reflects that the health system is organized and that there's a really good interaction theoretically between the clinicians and administrators. But there are some drawbacks, there's some negative theories. One of them is that can you really implement a questionnaire across all health systems in the same setting if the quality of care is not equal? So what about the Federal Qualified Health Center? What about the underserved population where there might be limited time? You may be dealing with a larger patient panel than there are providers. Do those questions, are they equivalent? Is it fair to even ask that patient, were you seen within 15 minutes? So those are some of the theories that would say that it would be very difficult to have a true implementation of a standard value. So to create this project, the thought was, what if we were creating a multimedia or at least a video project that would train the patient in what to expect? Because a lot of the questions that are being answered are not being answered about what the physician provided, but what the patient expected in the encounter. So if you are starting off a visit with a new patient, and before they even saw that provider, a short video explained what the practice provided, what kind of physicians there were there, what services were available in-house, what you should do if the office is closed, that sets your expectations so that you're not expecting a practice that does not handle controlled substances to do your refill of your narcotics. You would then understand that maybe you need to call for a referral and set up an appointment and not just call in to say, I want to see gastroenterology. So this video was created and following the rooming process. So the nurse would take the patient into the room, set up the video, they watch the video 60 seconds to capture our attention, and then shortly after the provider would enter the room, have that visit with that new patient encounter, and then a 6-question survey taken from HCAHPS. It's literally taken from what they're already going to be getting in the mail. So what we found, and I'll just go to an image of it, was that we had patients who had a very positive experience, and I'll show you this graph. One of the questions we focused on, did you have an improved understanding of what the clinic truly provided? Did you understand the services? And we had 38 patients respond, and of those 38, almost 100% said yes, definitely, and the rest said yes, somewhat. Patients were still free texting things, so they would write things like, yeah, but I still, they'll write their questions in there, so that's a comment section, and I had not included a comment section. But patients would still write in their own feedback. And then the other question that was important is, did it improve your comfort? Because a new physician and a new patient encounter, or a new provider, new patient encounter is somewhat stressful with quite a bit of angst. So did it make you feel more comfortable? And most patients said yes, definitely, or yes, somewhat. The ones who said no also wrote comments. They said no because the nurse made me feel comfortable, or they said no because the physician made me feel comfortable. Once again, there was no comment section. So our patients have so much more to say, and in many instances, for anyone who's had to sit through a review of the patient satisfaction scores, you find out that patients will rate you lower, but write a paragraph about how great you are. And in a lot of ways, that led to a lot of concern about how do we truly implement this metric. So some of the shortcomings of this survey, one thing we noted is that our practice at the time, we were not seeing as many new patients. Where we were located, a health system closed down not too far away in Lewisburg, and we had gotten in so many patients that by the time our survey came out, we were at capacity and there was about a 3-month wait. So I wasn't able to start my project until new providers came on board. What we found is that the new physicians were learning the EMR, so they could only see about 3 or 4 patients a day, so it limited our pool. So an aspect for the future would be to take this project and make it 4 or 5 clinics so we can pool more data. The other thing is that technical difficulties will always arise, so we actually gave the patients tablets, which eliminated the need for using the computer, because then the nurse could still be entering their pharmacy and doing all those technical things in the room, and the patient just watches a simple tablet. So, and the surveys were only available in English, which led to a high no response rate. So Press Ganey did a survey of 937,000 patients, and they found that in 2015, of all those people who were given those surveys through their third-party survey, people would recommend a physician, the likelihood to recommend a physician or a practice based on 3 things. 1, confidence in that provider. Do they trust the provider? Do they feel confident? 2, patients' perceptions that the team worked well together. And the third thing was concern that the provider was worried about their concerns, the sense that you were being validated and heard. So there's a large impact that it has on that patient interaction if we set their expectation before they enter the room so that they know this is not the clinic where you're going to get certain drugs, we don't have these services on site, but also understanding that there is a lot that comes from the interaction where they need to trust you, they want to feel like you are a cohesive team and that you are hearing their concerns. My practice, what we have implemented from this project is we're actually going to show something similar in our lobby because we figure that our patients are sitting there, captive audience, and it would be great to let them know what do we have a clinic day that's just devoted to flu shots, and do we have a Coumadin clinic? Do we have a nurse who is just going to be able to fill out your forms for you? What's our process on disability forms? So that information will be shared in the lobby, and that our goal is if you actually came in knowing what we could do for you, then you can actually answer the questions based on your expectation and make it realistic. So that's still in process at my practice. Thank you.